Cobra's new game improvement irons aim to give you the most distance and forgiveness. But does that mean you lose out on control? Let's go find out. Now there is some serious technology packed behind this club head to give you more forgiveness and distance. One that we've seen in the other parts of the Cobra range is the Pwr-Cor technology. This strategically positions the centre of gravity and allows the club face to flex more, which is going to give you more ball speed. We also have a thinner and larger power shell face, which is also going to help with this. In fact, the sweet spot of this is 23% larger on that thinner area, so that means you're going to get that faster ball speeds on even more off-centre strikes. Now, a lot of the technology is actually hidden inside the club head. There is actually a floating steel bar in the back of the club head. This helps bring the weight low and back where Cobra want it. And to help with the sound and feel, this is then surrounded by a soft polymer, which is going to get rid of those unwanted vibrations and give you that nice pure feel. So let's see how those technologies feed into the performance. So I'm starting with a 7-iron, and when you put it down behind the ball, overall the shaping is pretty nice, and what I like is there's not that much offset. But one thing that probably would put me off here is that the top line is quite thick compared to the clubs I would use. Now obviously this is a game improvement iron, so the bigger size is there to kind of give you more confidence over the ball if that's what you're aiming for. So I can kind of get past that. Now for me, I'd be looking at my 7-iron flying around the 155 mark. So I've come back a little bit to about 160 because I'm wanting to see if there's any more distance in this. But also because this is such a big head, I'm expecting these to fly quite high because there's a lot of technology low down. You know what, for a game improvement iron, that actually felt really nice. It sounded quite quick as well off the face. But as I was expecting, we did have a really nice high flight. It was actually very controlled, like a small draw, but straight away I can see on the numbers there it's flown over the 160 mark, so pretty good straight off in terms of distance. Again, pretty nice high ball flight. Yeah, so that was up at the 100 feet, which for a 7-iron is going to be really good. It's definitely going to give you a lot of land angle. If you're someone who needs extra height, which does fit the majority of golfers who will be looking for a game improvement club. And also I would say is sometimes people think because you have these thicker soles that it's harder to strike. And I think for a lot of people who have a shallow swing, it's going to work really nicely because it acts more like a hybrid or a fairway would. But then even for me there, I had like nearly a -4 attack angle and I've still managed to get a really nice turf interaction. So overall, I wouldn't be too concerned about that. We do see that there's quite a bit of camber on here as well that's going to help out with that. You know, I'm really pleased with the quality of strike with these so far, and also the consistency. They've been really consistent in terms of height, distance, trajectory, and one thing I would say is the spin has been pretty consistent too, because that is one thing people think with game improvement irons that can vary a lot, or you can get jumpers. I mean, my first two were both in the 6,000s. That one has just dropped into the 5,000s, but pretty consistent overall in terms of all the variables. Now, although the strike and the height and stuff like this I'm really happy with, it's quite easy to see that these are kind of designed as a game improvement iron for one shot offering. It's quite hard to work these. You really more have like one stock shot, but I don't really think that's a big issue because golfers who want these are looking for more forgiveness and more consistency, and it's definitely providing that. Anyway, let's go back and hit some 5-irons and see what the gapping is like through the bag. So in terms of a game improvement iron, this is probably where I want to see the most benefit in the long irons. These are going to be the hardest irons to hit typically, so it's where you want the most forgiveness and the most launch to make these really easy to hit. Now over the ball, it's very similar from the 7-iron, probably slightly more oversized, a little longer from heel to toe, but you would expect that. And to be honest, it is quite confidence inspiring. It does feel very comfortable to put this behind the golf ball. That was really nice. I liked the ball flight, probably not quite as high as the 7-iron, but I would expect that, but still a really nice, good height. It's super consistent, like the direction control I've been really impressed with so far throughout both irons. And then in terms of distance, that was up at kind of 185, so pretty solid distance for a 5-iron. It would definitely work nicely with these hybrids because I was getting like 195-ish with the 4 hybrid, and again it works nice in the gapping because the 7-iron was going kind of in the 163, 164 mark. Again, really solid ball flight. People always say you should expect kind of lower spin with this build-up of an iron, but if we look at the numbers so far, every shot's either been in the low 5,000s or the really high 4,000s for spin, so not only very consistent but also pretty high from what you would expect for a 5-iron. That felt really quick. Probably finished about 20 foot left, but it's flown up at 194, so that's pretty big distance for a 5-iron. Anyway, now let's go down to some of the short irons and hit some 9-irons and see what the control's like there. So here over the ball we do see a little bit of difference. I've got a 9-iron and you can tell it's a lot more lofted and you don't see as much of the back of the club, which I definitely do prefer. But you've still got that kind of oversized look, which is going to give you a bit of confidence and a fairly thick top line. Now here I'm just wanting to see how much I can control this and how well it sits on the green. I caught that slightly thin, but still a pretty solid ball flight, and I got a decent height on it, and our distance is still up over the 130 mark, so pretty good for a 9-iron. Now in terms of stopping control, it's pretty good. That was literally a 1 bounce hop and stop. Like, I can see the spinning on the green, and although the spin isn't up at like the 9,000s that you might expect with, say, a blade, it's still in the 7,000s, which is pretty good. And in terms of the height, we're getting up near the 100 feet too, so I'd be really happy with that in terms of that control. That was also my longest shot yet. It flew out at 138. Really solid shot again. Maybe I should just play with these. The results have been pretty good so far. To be honest, there's not much not to like here. So obviously a lot of people will play chips around the green with a pitching wedge, specifically kind of long range chip and runs like this. So how do we get on with that when the sole's a little bit thicker? I'm just going to hit a few chip shots and see what the feel's like, and also how fast it is off the face and if it's controllable. I'd say that works. It does feel quite quick off the face, but it is quite nice because you can hit it quite soft and know it's going to get all the way back to the pin, because a lot of times amateurs can struggle with getting the ball all the way to the hole on short game, so there is kind of an advantage with that. But I think if you did go ahead and hit this quite firm, it would release a lot just because we've got that fast ball speed off the face, so that is something to be wary of. Not sure I need to hit another one. I've holed one and stuck one to a foot. I think it's pretty good for short game. So through the set there, I was pretty pleased with the performance. In terms of distance, it was very solid, and there was nice even gaps between the 3 clubs. We're looking at like 135 carry distance with the 9-iron, then up to 162 with the 7, and then up to 186 with the 5. I think the thing I was most pleased with was just how consistent the ball flight and the trajectory and the height was throughout the set, and it's really important because you need that high launch to not only be able to get the most carry distance you can, but be able to get a good lang angle and to get balls to stop well on the green. Obviously we have that misconception that game improvement irons are very fast off the face, And there is a little bit of extra distance here, but I found it was very consistent from shot to shot in terms of distance, spin and control. So really I was super happy with how well these performed. It was easy to see with my 9-iron just how well I could control the ball with the short irons. So really I don't think there's a massive issue there in terms of losing any feel or control for gaining that extra distance. Obviously these have quite a big sole and a chunky top line, which isn't necessarily the thing I like to look at over the ball. But in terms of feel off the fairway and turf interaction, to be honest, they were really good and there was nothing there that put me off at all. So I think if you're someone that's wanting that extra forgiveness in terms of off-centre strikes, you're wanting that extra launch, these are really going to help because we've seen that the dispersion was really tight, the distance was really controlled, and to be honest, I could control these throughout the back. So these are a really strong performer in the game improvement category this year. Right. That's all for today. If you have any questions about any of the new Cobra products, feel free to drop them in the comments below. If you're new to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications too. And if you're after more golf content, head to the National Club Golfer social media channels for more.